The Spiritual Readiness Initiative is more of doing assessment of the spirituality of an individual. So with FSIN 7-22, Holistic Health and Fitness, the revision of that was established about a year ago. It came out. What they did is, the Army is always good about, hey, we know how to assess the Army Combat Fitness Test. We know how to do your physical fitness. We know, there's programs out there that can do that type of assessment. Now, there's ways as far as nutrition, how we can assess, their nutrition as well, and then sleep as well. And so one of the domains of the holistic health and fitness is the spirituality, spiritual readiness. And so we really hadn't really talked about, how do we measure spirituality or your readiness on that. And so FM 7-22 actually did a well job as far as explaining what it means as far as, readiness of individual spirituality. It defines what it means as well. So Chapter 10, pretty much explains the reference to that. I mean, just like this morning when it came in, driving in this morning during PT, you see soldiers out there running, on the streets and stuff like that, doing their physical fitness. And it's very important for them to do that as well. So now we've got to look at the spirituality. What are you doing, to develop your spirituality and your spiritual fitness and so forth. And so this is what the initiative is about, is getting commanders to help the soldiers build their spirituality. And there's different ways of doing this. So we've been doing this for about a year now, as far as the spiritual readiness initiative. I'll let Chaplain Solhjem go a little bit more in details in reference to how we're doing this as well.
What we discovered was Dr. Lisa Miller from Columbia University. She is the nation's leading, she's a clinical psychologist, and she's the nation's leading researcher in the science of spirituality. And she has years of longitudinal research that speaks to how important it is to life outcomes and overall well-being to have a strong spiritual core. And not only a strong spiritual core, but then to have an individual's belief in something outside of yourself, what gives meaning and purpose in life, and then to be connected, that belief to be connected in community with others. We were made to need other people. That's part of spirituality. That connection is really very, very critical. So the United States Army, as the Regimental mentioned in FM 722, recognizes the other four domains, the physical, the mental, the sleep, rest, and the nutrition. We've hit those pretty good. But we've got a gap, a hole in our swing in light of everything that's going on with baseball these days. And the Sergeant Major's pulling for the Astros. Anyway, the bottom line is we got a hole in our swing. And so Dr. Miller came and we invited her to brief the senior Army leadership. And when they heard her presentation, they realized, oh my goodness, we need to get this out there for our soldiers and families. And they recognized immediately the importance of this. And as the Regimental said, so we've taken and packaged this. And when we, in the actual initiative, it's focused on the ministry teams, giving them the skills to help assess commanders, to assess the spirituality of their soldiers. Just like the Regimental mentioned, we assess physical fitness. We can do that, so it's giving them the tools and resources. It's also bringing in the behavioral health and the other care providers and helping them to understand the importance of spirituality, and then to have a referral system where it sounds to me this is a spiritual issue and maybe we need to refer you out to the chaplain, because the chaplains and religious affairs specialists are very good about referring soldiers to behavioral health. So now we've created this revolving door. And then, as the Regimental said, it's also educating the command teams on spirituality, and so that they begin to look for it in their formation. It's kind of like you can look at an individual and you can see the levels of fitness in their performance. And so spirituality is about really getting to know your people. And then it isn't just getting to know your people, it is what do I then do with what I know? So then it's the application of care that we administer to the soldiers, those qualities of everyday caring for our soldiers. This initiative has really helped shape our culture. That's what I'd leave you with, that the initiative is really not about an event. It's really getting after the essence of our culture in the United States Army and the esprit de corps, the spirit of that culture.
Yes, I just want to add to what Chaplain Solhjem mentioned last time. It's not only the commander's responsibility, it's every leader's responsibility to know their soldiers, take the time to sit down and get to know them and understanding where they're at. And once they establish that connection with their soldiers, understanding who they are and how to develop them, and getting them connected with the chaplains, it'll help them out, to build a longer, productive life. At least a foundation, especially, the younger soldiers between 18 and 25-year-olds. Once they establish that, they have a good, solid foundation of their, not only physical fitness and other domains of from 720, but also their spirituality, and they can start growing on that. So, but it takes every leader, to take the responsibility to connect with their soldiers, get to know them, and when issue does happen or occur, as Chaplain Solhjem mentioned earlier, they're going to be able to identify that. Hey, something's not quite right with you. So let's sit down for a minute, let's have a talk, and then let's go see the chaplain. And maybe it's not be a chaplain, maybe behavioral health, or maybe somebody else. Maybe it's financial that they have problems or issues with. But that soldier, that leader will understand that soldier. So just by getting to know them, building that cohesive team, and so they can identify those type of issues when they do occur.
Yeah, and I think, too, as we talk in the Army about the importance of this is my squad, that there's a spiritual component to that squad. There's a spiritual component to cohesion of teams. And so what I would say is two things to your audience. You're never alone. I don't care what you're going through in life, what challenge you may face, what you may call the dark night of the soul, so to speak. You're not alone. There's agency out there in people that care about you. And we should never make that ultimate negative decision out of a sense of isolation or despair or loss of hope. The chaplain team is there to bring that hope to the formations as well as every leader. It's all of our collective responsibilities to do that for our teammates. So as we face the challenges of life together, just remember you're never alone. And thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to the men and women who are serving our country here in Germany. We thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to everyone today.